Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new dragging video. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the first one. We're at the Harry Winston boutique in Las Vegas in America. As someone who works in a professional environment, I expected Harry Winston to be the same when I walked into the boutique. However, to my disappointment, I was greeted with glares of judging looks from the security and the staff. The SA seemed professional, but what looked to be security personnel was looking me up and down at my apparel from the workout day to day. I wasn't wearing my so-called professional expensive clothing. The items in the store were well within my budget, but will most likely decide not to do business with them. Overall, I wouldn't recommend to shop here. Well, I don't want to be annoying. You didn't. Well, anyway, let me not speak too much because some of you guys get mad at me when I film my dragging videos. There are a group of people watching these videos who don't like me, get upset at me. I'm not the one writing the dragging reviews, you guys. Other people are. Guys, seriously though, me personally, I'm not going into a boutique like this looking a mess. Harry Winston, particularly if you don't have a relationship and you're like, this is your first time going to the store, I wouldn't go in there looking a raggedy mess. They have things in there that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, pounds, euros. I know what you're going to say, well, a lot of people dress casually and have lots of money. I get that, but I mean, I think we need to bring back making like an effort when you leave the house. I think when you leave the house, let's make an effort. Yes, I know what you're saying. The person was wearing gym clothes because they had been working out. I haven't been to the gym in a while. I used to go to one gym and then I changed and went to another one. Right now I'm like doing workouts at home. But when I used to go to the gym, I would still have nice clothes to wear when I left the gym. I wouldn't leave the gym in workout clothes. I don't know. You got dragged because you looked a mess. They're used to people in Las Vegas dressing really, really nicely and looking absolutely wonderful when they go shopping there. So, you know, that's why you got dragged. It is what it is. Like, the person knew that they got dragged and they knew it was going to happen because they mentioned the fact that they were wearing workout clothes. Same location. Next one. Walked in on Valentine's Day. I bought my husband an elite rare piece of art at a gallery across the way. He wanted to get me an exquisite piece of jewelry in return. He had 150,000 USD. Okay. To spend at least to splurge on jewelry. Maybe on some earrings. That was our plan. We walked in and the employees looked at us as if we crawled out of the gutter. It was really uncomfortable. They didn't say a word. I simply asked about the Harry Winston designer, his style, inspiration, and latest designs. I've never owned a piece, but was looking forward to something rare and special and need a little more info. The man said, Google it. Lord, I know you want me to do these dragging videos. The people who don't like me and hate watch these videos are going to shout at me. What do you want from me, Lord? Because Google it. No respect on Harry Winston's name. Sorry, we just fixed my cough there. No respect on Harry Winston's name. Not a good representation of the fine quality service. They just stood there with complete stiff, horrible energy. All I had to do was point a finger. Could have purchased something in the store. We walked out disappointed. We didn't even look at all of the jewelry. I think that there are a few things here. I don't know a ton about Harry Winston. I know that obviously he was a diamond trader. You know, that was his like nickname was the King of Diamonds. He famously owned the Hope Diamond, which I think today is owned by the Smithsonian Museum in New York. You know, a fascinating gentleman indeed. I think it's possible that walking into the store and asking, can you tell me about Harry Winston? You know, asking about Harry Winston, the designer, like, who was this man? His style and inspiration and latest designs. I don't know. I mean, to me, it kind of maybe seems like maybe you're just there to like ask questions because you're curious about who it is, but maybe you're not buying. This is why I always say, and I know people get angry at me, you need to be really clear that you're buying something. This couple had the money to shop in there. You have 150,000 USD. Obviously, you can definitely buy their fine jewelry pieces for sure with that budget and get some really great pieces. They absolutely are clients. They absolutely can afford. They can afford to shop there. But I think sometimes it's the way things are said. I want to, and again, not trying to defend the store, but I want to just highlight. I think unless you've run a store, you would be shocked by the amount of people who come into shops just to look at things. just to look at things, browse. Um, I've had a huge like life change. We've just opened a new business where I might have to consider going back into retail and opening a shop for this new brand that we've just launched here in my country. And, I had a meeting with my team and they were trying to encourage me to go back into retail and open a shop. And I was like, do you remember all the people who'd come into the store when we had our beauty shop and just look and look and look, touch everything, want to be shown everything and not buy? It's definitely possible that Harry Winston gets a lot of window shoppers, a lot of people who are looking at the fine jewelry but have zero intention of buying, a lot of people who are just looking because they want to feel special. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with going to try things on to see if you like it. Harry Winston have some really cute pieces. I haven't seen how those diamonds look against my skin from fine jewelry. They have some interesting looking watches. Again, I haven't seen how they look. I know that there's a boutique on the Avenue Montaigne in Paris, I believe. So of course it is fine for one to go in and look at things. There is absolutely nothing wrong with browsing and looking. But I think sometimes it's the way people browse. In a lot of shops, there'll be people who are like taking up valuable essays time to touch 5 million things and not buy anything. I think if you're someone who's just looking around, we said this before, go to the department store. Now, Harry Winston, they have standalone shops. They're not really in department stores. So I think in a situation like this, if one is just going to look, just be clear that, hey, I'm just looking today. I just wanted to look. Is that okay with you? Of course, they're going to say it's fine. In this case, they were actual clients. So what they should have done is been very clear, like, hey, would love to see the fine jewelry. Would love to pick something up today. I would say, if it was me and I had 150 bands to spend like her husband did, I would say like that. Make it sound a little bit better than that. Make it sound a little bit more glossier than that. But I would say something like, hello, I'd like to look at some of your fine jewelry. And, I would love to pick something up today. And then while you're trying on the pieces, why was he called the King of Diamonds? Can you tell me a little bit more about him? The essay is going to feel interested to help you because they feel like they're going to make a sale. So they're going to tell you, and then they're going to be like, oh, he was called the King of Diamonds because of this. Did you know he owned the Hope Diamond? Did you know that this? And then they're going to tell you all the things about Harry Winston and his life and so on and so forth. But I think the first thing going up there is like, hey, we're clients, but first tell me everything about Harry Winston. Tell me everything about his profile before I look at jewelry. I mean, girl, you are going to make luxury essays tired. I mean, the Harry Winston essays, honey, they're not playing with the girls. They do not want you to go up in there asking 500 million questions. They want to know, what are you buying today? The next one is the Audemars Piguet boutique in Las Vegas. The host was rude, non-welcoming, and judgmental. I walked in with casual clothes, and since I was on holiday, a plain shirt, pants, and a $20,000 Rolex on my wrist. Ooh. The gentleman at the desk was completely rude and assumed I was poor and could not own an AP. He assumed I was poor. He wouldn't even get out of his seat to greet me. Okay, that's pretty rude. That's rude. That's rude. I was ready to drop 40 to 50,000 USD on a Royal Oak until he opened his mouth and showed how disrespectful he was. He wouldn't give me 2 minutes of his time, and he all but told me I wasn't going to own an AP. He all but told me, basically. Just said that this is relationship based. Lord, please let the people know in the comments, because there are going to be people saying it's a relationship. This person said right here that the gentleman said it's relationship based over and over again in a frustrated tone, even when I said, quote, let's build that relationship then. All I have to say is if AP cares about their brand, they will fire that disrespectful punk. He called him a punk. At their Las Vegas location. Hire someone that's respectful and doesn't qualify people by looks. Just to wrap this up, I took my 40,000 USD and bought a Patek Philippe a few doors down, literally 5 minutes after leaving. I just expected more of a world-class brand like AP. I'll never go back or wear their product. Oh, well, this person had the money, but look, from what I can see of Audemars Piguet, like online in forums and watch groups and stuff, and in reviews, like they really don't care. Like the Royal Oaks specifically have just so many people want to spend money. So for them, he's like, it's a relationship. At Audemars Piguet, it's well known that the male clients are expected to buy a code, which is one of the other AP watches before they're offered a Royal Oak. There are Pegasus unicorns, of course, but most people today in 2025, please don't tell me about your husband, 5 years ago who got one and didn't buy anything. We're not talking about 5 years ago. Don't even bother bringing it up, honey. We're talking about today. And that's well known. So that's unfortunate. This is unfortunate. I think it's super rude not to get up when a client enters. I would get up definitely and be like, hello, welcome. And it's really rude to keep saying it's relationship based, especially when the person said, let's build a relationship. Obviously, this person knows he has to buy other watches. Yeah, very rude. Same location. Very extremely uncomfortable. Went into this location with my fiance as he was in the market for another watch. As we walked in, we were greeted with a friendly smile from the security, but we were not greeted or welcomed into the store by one SA until we approached him sitting in the back. What's with these people and sitting down? My fiance asked what was involved in purchasing a piece, and the guy stated, quote, everything is relationship based and gave us nothing more. When the question was repeated, as the SA wasn't willing to help us, he scoffed and stated again in a harsh tone, again, everything is relationship based. Quote, my fiance then asked how he can develop that relationship, and the SA made us feel like it was never going to happen. He then asked where we're from, not sure why that's important. He said we could go to LA and speak to them there. I was shocked by the lack of professionalism. We're not flashy people, but we're also very well off, and to be treated in this manner by an SA puts the brand's name to shame. We ended up going to another luxury brand. What a shame. We thought so highly of this brand until now. I don't know, girl, because I'm not a watch expert. I'm not a watch person. For me, I see them more as like pieces of jewelry, and I'm more into the aesthetics, like how they look. So to me, the way it looks matters more than movements and all of this stuff. But if her fiance is into watches, he knows very well that he is expected to buy other watches at Audemars Piguet. And traditionally, the way it's the same thing at Rolex. Men are expected to buy the less desirable pieces. They're expected to buy the women's pieces, which are harder for them to sell because they have more male clients than they do female clients, and then they'll be offered the top tier pieces that they're looking for, and that is well known. So to be like, we ended up going to another luxury brand. We thought so highly of this brand. We're so shocked that it didn't happen to us. What are you shocked about? Anyone who's following this brand knows the situation. It's probably the same SA, because he's sitting down in this one and he's like, it's a relationship, meaning you need to spend money. Okay? And sometimes like with essays like this, like I don't understand why they aren't clear on what they expect. The next location is the Audemars Piguet boutique or AP house in London on Bond Street. I had the worst experience here. Originally tried to make an appointment to visit the branch. I was taken care of by SA number one. After not being able to successfully make an appointment, I decided to make an appointment via email. I know that feeling. I tried to make an appointment at the AP boutique in Paris and I was unsuccessful. So, people try and make appointments and never hear back. Don't worry. I've been there. I was contacted back by SA number one, who promptly put the phone, in response to the email, who promptly put the phone down when I called when I asked if I could deal with someone else. I spoke to the manager and I managed to make a visit one day, but she was too busy. A month later, I was still trying to get an appointment. I was told by the manager that they need 1 week's notice to see people, which isn't always possible. The manager did say she'd try my best to accommodate after the bad experience with SA number one, but she hasn't delivered on this. I think that the problem with a situation like the AP house in Bond Street in London, they just have too many clients. I forgot how many APs they make a year. They don't make that many compared to Rolexes. They absolutely do not make the same amount. Rolex make what, 1 million a year? AP make what, 40,000 Rolex, 50,000 Rolex a year? If I'll drop it in the description, or maybe I'll put it on the screen once I know how many Royal Oaks they make a year. They just have too many people trying to get these watches, and they just don't have the demand. I empathize with being unable to make an appointment, because I have tried in the past to make an appointment at the Audemars Piguet boutique in Paris, which is really close to the Madeleine Church, and it's close to Big H for Walk, and I've never been successful. So we'll see. I'll try again this year on my next trip. The next one is the Audemars boutique, the Audemars Piguet house in Milan in Italy. Be very careful if you decide to go to AP Milan. First of all, you must know you'll be treated with utmost humiliation. Their staff are dishonest and they conduct their business in an unethical way. That's based on my experience. I had a first purchase at the beginning of the year of a Royal Oak offshore model, which was available, and generally there's no demand for the Royal Oak offshore. That's true. The SA was eager to make the purchase and she shared her contact details in order for other purchases. I requested the Royal Oak open work and she said she'd work on it. Now, that is definitely more desirable than the offshore. I visited the boutique in April and I wanted the Royal Oak Chrono Green, which I sent the same essay requesting on her WhatsApp, but she never replied. In the store, when I mentioned to her the watch I wanted, the Royal Oak Chrono Green, she showed her true face to me. She replied arrogantly, I must be realistic in my request and that this watch has a long waiting list and the open work which I requested during my first visit is impossible for sure. It's clear that she's trying her best to sell the Royal Oak offshore since it was sitting in her store for a long time. It just shows how dishonest and manipulative the employees of AP are. I have to say, I'm completely on the side of the client. The Royal Oak offshore model is not as desirable as the Royal Oak, like the standard Royal Oak model. So on the men's side, you have the Royal Oak, then you have the Royal Oak offshore, which is less desirable than the Royal Oak. And then you have the Royal Oak open work, which obviously is like, testament to their craftsmanship and their artistry. It's a very desirable piece. It's also very expensive. Yeah, the essay, tricked her. We've talked about this before, luxury essays, at a lot of the girls and the brands, tricking clients. I've talked about this before, how they will play games with you, they'll trick you, in order to get you to buy things, and then bibbity bobbity boo, gone, buy, once they have gotten your money. Yeah, she wanted to sell the offshore, honey, because it's less desirable and clients will be less interested in purchasing that. So she was happy to get a client and sold him the offshore. But then when he wanted to have more desirable pieces, she wants to sell him more undesirable pieces before she gives him, a go or a bite at the apple of the open work or of the actual standard Royal Oak itself. And yeah, it is dishonest. It is dishonest. I think, to be a little bit more, I think we're all adults here. I think essays could definitely find a way of being like, hey, I'll work on the open work, but I wanted to show you some of these other pieces. Why don't you get two? Why don't you get this? And then when the open work comes in, you can come with your partner. We'll do a beautiful unboxing and all of this. Again, they can make it sound a little bit better than that, but I don't agree with the way they trick you. This happened to me at Big H at Severus. I shopped with her, whatever. She gave me her contact details. Oh, yeah, email me. We'll set up an appointment. And then bibbity bobbity boo. Bye, girl, bye. Never replied to me again. And I don't understand the dishonesty. I agree. It's very it's deceitful. At the worst, it's deceitful. At best, it's dishonest. It's not pleasant. I agree with him completely. Her telling him you must be realistic in the request. I mean, girl, give me help me follow the yellow brick road like I'm Judy Garland, honey. Help me, okay? Help me follow the yellow brick road and show me what else to buy. It's very unpleasant. The next one is the Louis Vuitton boutique in Milan near the Duomo. I'd like to share a very unpleasant experience I had in the men's shoe department at LV. My husband asked me to sit down and to wait for him while he quickly went to the toilet before coming back to try on some shoes. While I was waiting, an SA named XYZ approached me and told me I couldn't sit down unless I was trying something on. I politely explained I was waiting for my husband, who would be back shortly to try on some shoes. Another male SA confirmed I was waiting for my husband. Despite that, she insisted again that I leave and even asked her colleague to remove me. I calmly told her I was a customer and pointed out I'm respectfully dressed and had shopping bags from Cartier, Gucci, and Max Mara. Still, she insisted on removing me from the area simply because my husband wasn't physically there at the time. Now, let me ask, do you think my husband would have returned to shop after seeing how his wife was treated? The answer is clear. As a business owner myself, I understand how damaging it can be to have staff like this. I hope LV management takes this situation seriously. Again, I've talked about this in previous dragging reviews, that a lot of the times, in my experience, this experience also proves it. A lot of the times, a lot of female SAs can be really, really harsh to other women. The moment she said she was waiting for her husband, and the moment the other male SA confirmed that this is an actual client, she's waiting for her husband to come back from the bathroom, that's when it should have ended. Oh, my husband's gone to the bathroom, he'll be right back. Oh, okay, sure, no problem. But because the female SA wanted to power trip, honey, she wanted to power trip. This happens to me all the time. I've told you guys my casino stories of female croupiers who, for whatever reason, they don't like to see women gambling. I don't know. Maybe because you're annoyed I'm there and I'm, I'm burning my money playing roulette. I don't know. I don't know why you're mad about it. But I know that female croupiers get really annoyed at female gamblers for no reason and just want to harass you, harangue you, frankly, low-key bully you. And this is bullying. This is low-key bullying because she's a woman. If she was a male, if she was a man, the woman, the female SA would not have gone over there and said, why are you sitting down without trying on shoes? And we know that. We know that. It's because she's a woman. The moment she said, I'm waiting for my husband, like if she was a man, that this whole thing wouldn't have happened. But because she's a woman, the female SA wanted to power trip on her. Okay, and that has been my experience. My preference, and it's not, I'm a girl's girl in the truest sense. I am, team girl power and all of this, but I have to say, sometimes in these establishments, female staff can be really mean to female clients for no reason. Like, she was innocently minding her business. They obviously had money to spend. They'd been to other stores. You're just angry that she's there, and you wanted to let her know, I run this and I can harass you and I can harangue you and I can irritate you. Again, just very unprofessional. The next one is the Louis Vuitton boutique in Rome at Condotti. I wish we had read reviews before coming here. Unlike some of the other reviewers, we were greeted pretty quickly. We shop LV all over the world. Typically, you have to wait for an SA. SA number one was the SA, because she says his name. He helped us select our items. We actually really appreciated his helpfulness and service. Had our transaction ended differently, we would have given him a 5-star rating. However, once our items were selected, his personality drastically changed and he passed us on to someone who was in training. He didn't explain to her that these were the items we were buying. So she ended up bringing up 4 items, and then we had to explain to her that we had another pair of shoes that she needed to bring up for a total of 5 items. I don't blame the person who was in training. SA number one should have done a better job. He never followed up with us. He never thanked us, never said have a nice day, walked away from the transaction once we selected our items. From other boutiques, we know, even if they move on to another customer, they continue to follow up with the person as well as the customers, make sure everything stays on track. Yeah, that's true. We waited almost 50 minutes from the time we paid until the time our items were packed. We have purchased way more than 5 items in the past. It doesn't take 50 minutes to pack 5 items, especially considering they're not packed any different than typical wrapping. My recommendation would be not to work with SA number one, who's just there to get his commission. He's not interested in us as a customer and forming a long-term relationship. I originally planned to buy jewelry from this location, but I'll take my business elsewhere. I'm sure it doesn't make a difference. Girl, let me tell you, unfortunately it doesn't. Louis Vuitton just makes too much money. But being a loyal LV customer, I do believe we should get good service. Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's just that thing in Europe where the reality of shopping in Europe is this. In the big cities in Europe that attract a lot of tourists, have wealthy locals, so Rome, Milan, London, Paris, Madrid, Barcelona, Amsterdam, Stockholm, cities like that have, and Dublin, of course, as well. Cities like that have a lot of wealthy locals and have a lot of tourists who are milling around. It just means that the SAs, after a while, they're just not interested in building a relationship. So, he sold the items to him. I beg your pardon. He sold the items to this couple, whatever those items were. I don't know what they were. He probably did get a commission from it, because I've done some research into this, and apparently Louis Vuitton CAs in Europe, in the European Union, do get a commission for selling the capucine and certain leather goods. I don't think it's like a super high commission like the way American Louis Vuitton CAs get, but that's what I have found out basically. So he probably did get a commission from selling some of those pieces, but we don't know what they bought. And what I have found is that oftentimes shopping in Europe, is that they're super, super nice to you to get you to buy something. But not just Europe. This also happened to me at the Louis Vuitton boutique in Johannesburg. I remember meeting a CA there. I remember thinking she was really nice. I remember thinking, oh wow, I think I found someone who I can work with. She was super, super nice to me to get me to buy, and I remember it was to get me to buy something. And then the moment I bought it, that thing that I bought, she was like, okay, cool, and never replied to me again. Sent her messages like, I'm coming, I'd like to make an appointment with you. Never heard from her again, and she still works at the boutique to this day. So I think from that, what you see is like a lot of Louis Vuitton CAs are just really not interested in building a relationship with you unless you're spending a lot of money. And that lack of interest in building a relationship translates into the fact that this SA number one sold them the pieces, sent them to the cashier, and decided to go away. He's not actually supposed to do that. At least in the Champs-Elysees boutique and the Vendôme boutique, after they take you, at least it's been my experience at Vendôme and at the Champs-Elysees boutique in France, after they take you to the cashier to ring you up and to process payment, they're supposed to escort you to the door and say goodbye to you there. But this SA number one didn't do that. That's wrong. I'm pretty sure it's the same in Italy. Definitely Louis Vuitton in France, they're supposed to take you to the cashier, cash you out there, and then escort you to the door and say goodbye to you formally, like leaving the boutique, like thanks so much for coming and hopefully we'll see you again soon. So I feel like a lot of these SAs are just not interested in building relationships with tourists in super touristy cities like Rome, etc., Paris, London, Amsterdam, Madrid, and so on and so forth. They're not interested in building relationships. Again, you're just going to have to spend a very high amount of money to get that person to like want to build that relationship with you. This is unfortunate. This is wrong. That's wrong for you to take the clients to the cashier and then be like, okay, bye, I'm done here. No, you're supposed to wait for them and then, thank you so much for coming, and then see them out of the store. So yeah, that's not right. Okay, the final one is Louis Vuitton Monte Carlo in Monaco. Terrible stuff. They don't know how luxury brands should treat potential clients. The SA opened the door and said, quote, oh, you want to look? With the most outrageous tone. And when we told her we're looking for jewelry, we didn't really know what we wanted to buy. We're open to browsing. She said, quote, we wouldn't find fashion jewelry here as they only do, quote, high couture jewelry. So we should go to Nice. And that opened the door for us. And then she opened the door for us to leave. Oh my God. Such terrible manners. We ended up at Dior. We were treated really well. Bought a Lady Delight bag. There's a cruel need for staff training at Louis Vuitton. I've never seen such a thing. I mean, it is outrageous to tell people we don't sell fashion jewelry here. You should go. We only sell high couture jewelry. You can go to Nice and to literally usher people out of the store. And that's pretty outrageous. that's just like, but also Monte Carlo, again, I wouldn't go to the Louis Vuitton Monte Carlo if I wasn't buying anything. And if I'm going there to look, I'll be very clear. Hi, I'm just looking around, don't mind me, just gonna mill around. You know what I mean? Like, to be like, yo, we do not do fashion jewelry. Honey, like who said I want to buy fashion jewelry? Again, I think it might just be helpful to be like, hey, I'd like to see something from the On Prompt line. That's part of their fine jewelry line. Or I'd like to see something from the Idil Blossom line. Again, that's from fine jewelry. Their fine jewelry is incredibly expensive. It's very beautiful. It's very gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's very pricey. So again, that is outrageous to usher people out of the store. Get out! Get out. Just absolutely. And when I'm laughing, I'm not laughing at the people. I'm just laughing at how outrageous all of this is. And that's why, we have these dragging series. It's the most popular series on my channel. I was talking to my husband about this. I was like, I've been filming these videos for years and I hope people don't get bored of them. And he's like, what's there to get bored of? Like, people are constantly updating their experiences at brands, and some people's experiences are outrageous. Like, it is wild AF for you to tell a client who's waiting for her husband that she's not allowed to sit down after she politely said, oh, sorry, my husband's gone to the bathroom, I'm just waiting for him. He was the one who was going to be trying on shoes. That's outrageous. However, Harry Winston is not wrong in the dragging reviews at the beginning of the video. Harry Winston isn't wrong for being like, well, we're used to seeing our clients dress a certain way. And it's not wrong to want people to make an effort. I think we should bring back making an effort. Today I went to the local shopping center with my little sister. I was really looking forward to it. And went to the local shopping center just to, shop and buy things at local shops. And, I was like, okay, I'm going to put makeup on, I'm going to put my wig on, I'm going to do my eyebrows, going to put some lip gloss on, and I'm going to make an effort. I think we need to make an effort to be part of society. I personally wouldn't go to Harry Winston wearing gym clothes, me personally. I have to say, as a black luxury consumer, there is a lot of judgment of minority ethnic customers in these stores. So perhaps my lived experience as a black luxury consumer also would make me a little bit more sensitive to looking maybe super casual at somewhere like Harry Winston. But I do think that individual should have made more of an effort, and I feel like they would have taken them more seriously. People take you as seriously as you take yourself. And I think that's a good way of looking at this stuff. No one's saying you have to wear black tie. No one's saying you need to wear a ball gown. But I think coming back from the gym, and again, I don't want anyone to have a moan. I'm sure the person showered and smelt absolutely fine. But there is this feeling like, oh, that person's just been to the gym and they're coming in here to try and touch our gorgeous diamonds from, Australia or South Africa and so on and so forth. There might just be this reaction like, oh, no, that person's just been to the gym, honey. We don't want them touching anything. Again, some discernment would help. The person knew that going in there in gym clothes, you're going to be looking like a raggedy mess. Again, it's giving Cabbage Patch doll. It's just giving a hot mess. So please get it together. Be a Bratz doll. Be a Barbie doll. Don't be a Cabbage Patch doll. And that is like the major theme of these dragging reviews. No one's saying it has to be black tie. Okay, no one's saying that. I was reading about the Monte Carlo when I was collecting the reviews. The Monte Carlo casino, the one that's the one that's connected to James Bond and the royal family of Monaco, and from 7 p.m. you have if you're a man you have to wear a suit, a jacket or a tuxedo. I have to say, I love that they're enforcing the dress code there, and they enforce it from 7 p.m. onwards. It's enforced. So before 7 p.m., it's not enforced. And then after 7 p.m. at the blackjack and roulette tables, it's enforced. And women are expected to wear really, really nice dresses. Lots of women wear black tie dresses, evening gowns, and that. I have to say, I love that the dress code is enforced, and I think it's fine. I've seen, and even on the review page for that casino, because there are two casinos. There's one in Monte Carlo that's more casual. You don't need to wear really nice clothes. But the one that's the really famous one that's been in James Bond and that's connected to the princely family of Monaco, that's the one that has a dress code. I think it's fantastic to have a dress code. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Because I think that sometimes it's good to just make that effort, Would it have hurt the client in the Harry Winston story to be like, hey, I'm going to make an effort to look cute? Would it have hurt them? I don't think it would have necessarily hurt them. And then also, again, I think just to be clear, in the second Harry Winston story of the couple who had $150,000, you have 150 bands. You are definitely the kind of client that they would love to nurture, because they'll start that person off buying fine jewelry, then they'll push the high jewelry on you, then you'll be buying $1 million pieces and so on and so forth. But I think that maybe that person turned off the SA by being like, can you tell me all about Harry Winston? It's super rude to tell a client, Google it. But the amount of people that go in there to look around and be like, oh, I love diamonds, I love this, I'm so passionate. Okay, thanks, bye. Don't underestimate the amount of people that do that as well. Okay, really hope you guys have liked this dragon video. I would love if you would subscribe to the email newsletter. I sent it this week. I worked really hard on that one. The email newsletter this week that was sent was about luxury spending VIP tiers for 2025. It took me a long time to collect the information with with spending tiers for many brands. I featured Dior, Big H, Big LV, Big C, Fendi. Also talked about Versace as well. Also talked about something that Chopard did for their top VICs this year. But again, it was just for the newsletter. So you're missing out on some really cool info if you're not in the newsletter. Please subscribe. It's linked below if you're not subscribed already. And also turn on notifications and stay subscribed as well. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. And I'll see you very soon in my next video.